That's bigger than me. Look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that. What in Jesus' name is doing this?
Shift. And then he goes back into normal. Yep.
And these artifacts were so strange, and I've never heard of them, probably because the story's trying to get swamped over by the Smithsonian.
One of the causations is that the British royal family has been flatline royal since 1840.
Explain that.
Flatline royal means illegitimate, not allowed on the throne.
I like how these guys just come out on television and in front of everybody's eyes just decide to shapeshift. I mean, come on. That's not a mask. That is a straight up shift. And then he goes back into normal. Yep.
I know a lot of things on these shows can all be explained, but how do you explain something like that? Because that legitimately looked like a actual zebra.
Something, oh my God, oh my God. I hope you can hear this. It sounds like gorillas fighting in the tree. They're breaking limbs bigger around than me. I've never seen anything like it in my life. This is the second time I've come over here. And the first time when I got up under them trying to figure out what it was, they started breaking limbs off and throwing them at me. And I still cannot figure out what it is. Look, they're ruining this freaking place. What in God's name is it? It's bigger than me, whatever it is, because it's breaking limbs off that it would take me 2 minutes to saw.
I don't know, there's not that much really going on. Whatever it was at the beginning was strange, for sure. Definitely brain
See,
just
he's coming right
cracking.
above me right here. He's fixing to throw something at me, whatever it is. Yeah, they don't like you messing with them. Look. What in God's name is going on? Look, that's bigger than me. Look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that. What in Jesus' name is doing this? Oh my God, he just took half the tree down. Something, oh my God, oh my God.
Okay.
Oh, it's gotta be I don't even think a bear would have a chance in Hades and it doing this. It's something stronger than a bear. And he is pissed. Yeah, that's a healthy tree. About 8 to 10, maybe even 12 inches in diameter that he just broke because he's pissed because I'm getting close to him. I think I'm gonna bounce because I think he just hit the ground, which means he's about to face me on foot. And I don't really want to wrestle with somebody that can tear trees down. Just because they're mad. My God, look at the tree he just freaking broke in half.
So, do you think this is Bigfoot, a group of monkeys, or a local squirrel that has been drinking too much out of our rivers that have been polluted by our government and transformed into something crazy and bizarre?
So the Acámbaro artifacts were discovered in Mexico in 1994. They consisted of 33,000 artifacts found, and the carbon date put them back 6,500 years ago, which would have been 4,500 BC.
Jeez.
And these artifacts were so strange, and I've never heard of them, probably because the story's trying to get swamped over by the Smithsonian. But these artifacts, they consisted of like stone and clay, like figurines and stuff of like dinosaurs.
Oh.
And like there was one figurine of a warrior riding a triceratops.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
And then they had other figurines of like mermaids, human-animal hybrids. They even had one that looked like Bigfoot, and like just this crazy stuff that like totally messes with the whole narrative that humans interacted with dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Because there's a man riding a dinosaur.
The timeline is scrambled.
And so it was authenticated by 3 men in the profession that were like, they knew what they were looking at and what they were talking about. But then the Smithsonian, like, nope, this is all, it's a fraud. None of these are real. And they said, we're going to carbon date it ourselves. And they did. And they're like, these are only 30 years old.
Go figure. This organization is about as corrupt as our government or your pediatrician that's taking all the payments underneath the table.
So this year, we hopefully will be able to make about 5,000 Optimus robots. We're technically, we're aiming for enough parts to make 10,000, maybe 12,000. But since it's a totally new product with totally new, like everything is totally new, I'll say like we're succeeding if we get to half of the 10,000. Now, but even 5,000 robots, that's the size of a Roman legion, FYI, which is like a little scary thought, like a whole legion of robots. I'd be like, whoa, okay. But I think we'll literally build a legion, at least one legion of robots this year, and then probably 10 legions next year. And I don't know, it's kind of a cool unit, units of legion. So probably 50,000-ish next year, and then it's probably ready I'm hopefully ready for Optimus to be used outside of Tesla-controlled environment, or maybe around the middle of next year, second half of next year sometime. So that's, I think that sounds about right. Probably second half of next year is when they'll be available. And then we will offer Optimus robots first to Tesla employees. So you guys get the priority.
Legions. The more I watch of this guy, the less I trust him at all. But he also did say that the end of 2025, the second half of the year, we should be seeing these robots. And as far as I'm concerned, we have not been seeing them. So that's a win. So when you overlay them like that, that is very strange to say the least. I don't know how you could even explain that. That literally looks like a reflection of the Earth. Huh.
One of the causations is that the British royal family has been flatline royal since 1840.
Explain that.
Flatline royal means illegitimate, not allowed on the throne. So, from the Battle of Waterloo, the British royal family lost all their money and they've been funded by the Rothschilds in exchange for breeding rights. So the Rothschilds had the breeding rights to the British royal family from 1819 to 2019.
So what was the purpose of the Rothschilds needing this?
The British royal family were virtually bankrupt from 1815. So the Rothschilds funded the British royal family in exchange for the Rothschilds breeding the royals. So the whole British royal family are Rothschild Batards. And Batard is the royal name for bastard. So what I did in my legal documents is I exposed King George V of England as being sired by Tsar Alexander III of Russia, and I exposed Queen Elizabeth II as sired by artificial insemination by Winston Churchill, who was actually the illegitimate son of King Edward VII.
Hang on.
I know, it gets too much, so I'll show you a chart.
Okay, so you've got it all laid out for us to see?
Absolutely.
So none of the royal family is actually royalty. I wish I could say that was surprising, but nothing these days. I mean, everything is just a stage.
The current version of history that we've been told is not only incomplete, it's just wrong.
It's just flat out wrong. Whether they were big civilizations in Illinois 10,000 years ago, which there were, by the way. How can we not know that? We sent a man to the moon, and you can't replicate the technology that created. You don't even have a good guess as to how they were built. We don't. We don't even know when they were built. But why would anyone care? For suggesting that our historical timelines were wrong, and there had in fact been advanced civilizations in earlier moments in time, and that they had been eliminated somehow through climactic events, through natural disasters, and that we're not aware of them in any detail. Kind of seems to be true. Well, why don't we know that? And what does it tell us about ourselves and about the past that we don't know? That's what I would think people would ask. But I know that what I learned as a kid is wrong. What do we know about ancient civilizations? And the answer is like basically nothing.
Did you read about Tartaria?
So right there is a perfect example of what I see a lot of people, just like Roseanne, doing, is coming across a lot of this information and automatically just throwing a blanket term such as Tartaria over all of these things. I'm not denying that Tartaria was real. There's an abundant amount of information that says that it was an actual place. But I don't think it was a worldwide network. I think we're looking at that incorrectly, and I don't think that is giving justice to the past if we're just throwing a blanket term on. If they want to start saying like the Tartarian era or something like that, then I can maybe get behind that. But to say everything is all connected to this one area over in Asia that was called Tartaria, and I know there was other Tartarian things, but I think people are just using it as a blanket term and doing a huge misjustice. You know what I mean. Injustice. That was the word. Damn.
Have a look at this newspaper from 1964 by the Bridgeport Sunday Post. It says the moon is a mirage, a reflection of the Earth's surface. Now this is very interesting, but check this out. This is the German World War II flat Earth map showing more continents and lands beyond the ice wall. So here's the map right here, and here's the moon. And you can see this is where we live right here within this circle. And this is exactly what the Germans knew. And the map's also showing these continents outside of our ice wall, outside of the firmament. Now have a look at the Prague astronomical clock. This is the oldest working clock in the entire world. And not only does it track time, it tracks solar movements, it tracks equinoxes, it tracks lunar positions and the moon phases, it tracks zodiac signs, solstices, and the seasons with pinpoint accuracy running for over 600 years. In the middle of this clock, they used the moon map. This clock runs on a geocentric model with the heavenly bodies moving above our stationary Earth. It's the only way that it works, and it's the only way that it works so accurately. If the Earth was spinning and orbiting the sun and doing all sorts of crazy movements through the galaxy, you'd never be able to track with such precision. All our ancestors knew that the stars move above us. That's exactly what we observe. Now you want to know something very interesting? During the pandemic, they renovated this clock. They renovated a 600-year-old Tartarian clock, and you want to know what they did? They changed the moon map, the flat Earth map in the middle of the clock, to a globe. This is literally how they cover up the real origins of humanity and our true history, guys. This is an absolute abomination and disgrace to our ancestors. Don't you find it interesting how all these old newspapers, old maps, they all reflect exactly what our ancestors told us, and then, you know, the elites come in and rewrite all of our history, erase the history on the clocks and everything. Now this is quite literally biblical stuff, guys. The moon reflects the earth. It is as above, so below. If you're a believer in the Bible and you still think that the earth is a globe, then you haven't read the Bible, because the Bible says it's stationary. There's a firmament above us. The moon reflects our stationary earth. You can see it. It's very obvious. They show the ice wall and everything. You've just been lied to about, look at this. You've been lied to about everything in your life, because what they're doing and why they lie about the heliocentric model and a spinning globe Earth is to hide God's true creation. They don't want you to know how powerful you are. They don't want you to know that you were intelligently created by an intelligent creator. They want you to think all of this came from a big bang, that there's no significance to life whatsoever, and you'll just stay stuck and trapped in their matrix system. But once you start to understand the truth, that is when you are set free. And the truth to everything lies within us all. That's where God is. Peace and love.
You don't have to believe that the earth is flat, but my question is, why renovate a clock that had a flat earth on it from 600 years ago and now put a globe earth on it? Why? What was the point of doing that? Why not even just leave it up there and say this is a relic of a time where the human race believed that the earth was flat? Instead, they just go, no, we're going to completely dispose of that. That is what gives so much of this type of thing credence, is because why are they hiding it? Why are they getting rid of these things? Why was Obama talking about flat earth and how we need to get rid of the flat earthers because they're a threat?
We don't have time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society.
If I say that the world is round and someone else says it's flat, that's worth reporting.
All of these things just coincide with each other, and it makes the idea that the earth is flat have a little bit more validity to it. And then you also just look at NASA and everything, and why haven't we been back? Well, we can't get through the Van Allen radiation belt, and we lost the technology. Like, how can anybody honestly believe these things? I'm not even going to get into the biblical side of it, because that's your own deal.
How did we miss
Trump
this?
Converted to Judaism 2 years ago, according to White House official. There it is. That's his blog. He said, President Donald Trump converted to Judaism 2 years ago and joined Chabad Lubavitch Synagogue in New York City, according to a high-level White House official. Mr. Goldberg says the story has allegedly been held by CNN's editors for months, but is due to be released within the next few days. David Elias Goldberg, a fellow at the Jewish Center of Anti-Semitic Study, has also interviewed the White House source. According to the source, Trump was pushed by his daughter Ivanka and son-in-law Jared Kushner to join the faith. At first, Trump resisted, stating it would threaten his base of evangelical Christian voters. However, he had a change of heart and officially converted in early 2017. The ceremony was held in private and closely guarded for nearly 2 years. It appears the White House is prepared to slowly release this information, and by summer, it is expected Trump will fully address his new faith in an evening televised news conference. He is clearly the most pro-Israel president in the history of America. He's
Yes, he
given
is.
Israel every single thing that they've wanted, and he's about to give them war with Iran. And so, has he converted? So, I want to show you one more article. This is, let me see if I can.
This is the Times of Israel.
Yeah, the Times of Israel. This was published March 22nd, 2019. This is the Times of Israel. Trump, the first Jewish president of the United States.
Now, that's not us saying that. That's Times of Israel. Times of what nation? Israel.
So the people in Israel, that's an English-speaking newspaper in Israel, and that's what they read, that Donald Trump is the first Jewish president of the United States.
And how did they qualify that, Rick?
They gave a list of things that he did for Israel.
First of one, of course, moving the embassy to Jerusalem.
That's right.
That was a big deal.
Then recognizing Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights.
So I know this is a very touchy subject, especially right now. But my thing is, how did so few people actually know about this? Like, anybody I talk to, they go, oh no, he's a Christian. He's been pushing all of this Christian stuff. But he's not. 2017, he became Jewish. And then it said that his daughter was pushing him towards it, but he didn't want to do it because he was worried that he was going to lose the Christian vote. My question is, then how can we trust him at all? Because if he wanted to become of that religion, but he didn't do it because he was worried about the votes, then that means he's literally only worried about the votes. He's not even worried about his own salvation. He's worried about the votes. And clearly you can tell he is worried about what is going on with Israel right now, which is why he has so many ties to Israel. This is where things start to get semi-dangerous. Everybody should know who exactly our president is.
I don't trust her. I think she was set up to like be his wife.
Right.
And then, hey, if he turncoats, you're up. Because if you look at her, like,
because she's taking over Turning Point, right?
In within 2 weeks,
right?
You have a grieving wife, and she's on a podcast right away.
Right.
Hey, smiling. Oh yeah, I remember when we just got smoked in front of everybody, JFK style, and you're smiling?
Yeah.
So that's weird. That's number one, right? The memorial. Can we all agree that shit looked like fucking, a WWE event? Like, that was WrestleMania.
Right.
Fireworks and all. I'm like, what is this? It's weird. That's strange. But if you look into her background, so you guys know that she was a pageant girl.
Yeah.
Right? So she was Miss Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
She won in, I believe it was 2012.
Yeah, something with Trump.
Well, Trump owned that pageant.
Right.
So she knew Trump. Okay. But then if you look into not only her, well, let me back up. When she was 17, she had worked with the military on charity efforts, working with a Romanian organization who got accused of trafficking. That happened back in 2001. Now, she wasn't there in 2001, but kind of odd. Okay, put a pin in that. But then if you look into her parents, that's where it gets weird. So her mom, can anybody tell me why she owns a tech company called E3 Tech Group that did classified missions in Iraq? That's weird, right? So, and what they specialize in is EMPs. You guys know what EMPs are?
No.
Electromagnetic pulses that take out like square blocks of like power.
Okay, I think I've heard about that.
Yeah, so an EMP knocks out a power. Like if you want to completely take out like a city or even bigger, you hit it with an EMP.
Okay.
It's even in the Matrix. Like remember in the Matrix Part 2 where like they're getting away from the Sentinels and they hit it with an EMP?
Yeah.
That's
And they
what
killed
EMP
them.
is.
Okay.
Right. So you specialize in blackouts. Okay. So you did secret missions, you specialize in blackouts. Your father wrote books for the government for, strategies and business intelligence for government officials, and you guys have a lot of government ties.
Right.
I'm sorry, but tell me this does not seem to all just be throwing up red flags at everybody. Every single thing I am coming across about Charlie Kirk after the shooting has just been red flags nonstop, just popping up everywhere. This Erica woman, his wife, I've never seen her until all of this happened. And every time I have seen her since, there's just something that is just churning inside of me. Just like my discernment is going off and just telling me that this is not somebody to be trustworthy. Nothing adds up. Nothing at all. But before he was assassinated, he was stating that he was concerned that the individuals that were in the last video were going to try and take him out. There's actual evidence stating that.
So apparently there's people out there that believe that cows farting is what's causing climate change. But it has nothing to do with the fact that there's 6 billion pounds of pesticides spread every year. Stop me.
Nah, it's all definitely the cow farts. Has nothing to do with what the government's doing to our land and to our water and to our bodies, our souls. Yeah, it's definitely the cow farts.
What if our psych patients really aren't crazy? Y'all tap in for a hot take. Me and my boy, who's also a nurse, got to talking. And we were just reminiscing about a day that we had in the ER one time. And the basis of the conversation was about 3 psych patients that we had in 2 days. So the first psych patient swore up and down that there were roaches and spiders crawling all over the room. And he was like, yo, do you see that? And I'm like, we're taught not to entertain the thought. So we're like, no, we don't see that. And we're trying to orient him to what we see. He's like, nah, bro, get me the fuck out of here, man. There's roaches on my goddamn leg. He starts swatting at his leg and shit. So me and my boy, we're calming him down. We get him medicated to keep him calm. And so just what you do for a psych patient in the ER. That's what we do. And then after that, you hit the charting and you say the patient's having tactile and visual hallucinations. But this is where shit gets weird. This guy was in the room for about 8 hours. The next patient came in after we transferred that guy out to the same room. Same room. Now, this patient does have a history of psychosis, but no hallucinations. I walk in the room just to introduce myself to the patient and get to know what's going on with the patient. This patient looks frightened as hell when I walk in. And she's balled up and she's like, before we start anything, can you kill all these bugs? And I'm like, what? She's like, you don't see all of these bugs around? So I get to look and I'm like, not this again. No, there's no bugs, right? You can't entertain the patient, so I'm not going to entertain the patient. She starts going crazy wild because she has a deathly fear of bugs and she just can't stand to stay in the room. So we ended up moving her to a different room. The next patient comes in. This girl was in the ER for about 10 hours. I think that's what we said. The next patient comes in. The same goddamn thing. He comes in the room. He's like, no, get me the fuck out of here. What the hell is that? And I'm like, what is what? He's like, bro, there's literally a spider crawling towards my bed. So now I'm like, you sure? So he goes, quote, yeah, man, there's spiders and roaches in this bitch, unquote. So now the only thing going through my head, instead of medicating him immediately for psychosis or just, being irate, I'm like, hold on, bro. Am I the one that needs to be medicated? 3 patients, all with different diagnosis, see the same thing? Am I the one living in La La Land? Are we the ones are we really the psych patients? Are the psych patients really tapped in? Bro, y'all let me know. But that's the conversation we had, and we was like, hey, bro, maybe they really tapped into something that we not really seeing, bro. And we keep medicating them and suppressing their reality, which might actually be reality. And we might be the ones who are not tapped in. Y'all let me know what you think. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. But there's no way.
See, this is interesting because once is a chance, twice is a coincidence, but 3 times, that's a pattern. What could be the possible reason that something like this could actually happen? Could we all actually be in the loony bin? Have the prisoners taken over the prison and become the wardens themselves? Or in this case, the psych patients?
Say the weird thing.
Okay, so if the Earth is 71% water, which it is, and that water is not carbonated, which it isn't, then that means that technically the Earth is flat.
It's such a dumb dad joke, but it actually is pretty funny. Well, thank you everybody for enjoying me, and I hope you enjoyed the video as well. I should have another video up in the next day or 2, so enjoy, and I'll see you on the next one.